Now tell me, does this sound familiar?
My kids never listen. My kids don't listen unless I yell. My kids never listen to me. My kids don't listen to anyone.
Usually when you say, I want my kids to listen, that translates into, I want my kids to do what I want when I say it. Here's the problem. Listening is a process of receiving. Doing what you ask is a much more complicated process involving assessing our feelings, our needs, and availability of resources in order to give or to contribute or to be of service to someone else. There's a lot of planning involved. Listening to you may seem easy or even like an appropriate expectation, but listening usually means that you're looking for compliance or obedience. And if you're looking for obedience, obedience cannot be your goal if you want your children to be internally motivated and directed. If not, they grow up to look outside themselves for approval or answers or direction. I'm tempted to say that wishing your kids would listen is just that, wishful thinking, but I would like to think that we have a little bit more power over our experience. So today I want to share a few strategies to help you increase the listening in your home. Okay, if listening is a receiving process and you actually want your kids to respond by doing, let's look at what creates more doing, more giving in a home. First, people are more likely to respond to requests when they are invited to share in a connection. Sometimes you have to make demands, but how often? How often are you making demands when you can really be inviting connection? Can you turn your demands into opportunities to connect and interact with your children? Reevaluate what you're asking of your children. When you say, I need you to set the table right now, I've asked you 4 times. This makes your child's inner alarm center go off. I've displeased someone, they hear that tone. And then this causes kids to react and tense up and fear our interaction. And this really cripples them of any positive forward action. So take this opportunity to connect and interact with your child. Or instead of, I told you to stop hitting your sister, and you need to listen, you need to respect me. You can try something like, I'm not going to let you hit your sister, it's not safe. You're feeling frustrated, and that's okay, it's hard to wait for your turn. Show me how mad you are. Do you see the difference? Instead of, you're pushing me to my limit, I shouldn't have to remind you, I'm displeased with your decision, or I want you to do what I say and I want it done now. The other way says, I have a need to move forward or hold this limit, but I honor your experience. Or we made an agreement and I'd like your help, or I'd like your contribution, or I'm going to help you. It says, I'm curious about what's preventing you from acting. If your child is small, you have to be a little bit more emotionally available than you may be used to because you just can't rush maturity. Development is slow and it's very unique to each child. If you want to demand all day and expect obedience, you can be sure that you're going to get a child who does and expects the same from others. A lot of the times we make demands of children who are developmentally unable to fulfill our requests. Sometimes it seems like a simple task, but it's really a multi-step task. With a young child or a child who's stressed, they may not be able to organize what we're saying or what we're requiring into a plan of action, so they freeze, they shut down, they may ignore us. When kids feel like they can't do something or they're unable to follow the sequencing of some task, or they don't know how to get started, they may naturally avoid that unless they have a supportive person to walk them through the process. Go do your homework might be too big in general for a young child or a child who has a little bit of difficulty with their executive function or has some social worries. Or clean up this mess that's said to a 3 or 4-year-old who's really invested in his Legos might be very triggering because of his age and stage. And little kids, they just don't have that ability to handle frustration like we do. They process information more slowly and they have differing abilities at different stages. Often what we expect of kids is outside of their developmental stage. So practice tasks with your kids instead of commanding them from 3 rooms away. Ask questions like, what's your toughest homework assignment? Or what's next that we can pick up? Or can you pick up all of the red Legos and put them in this bin? This breaks the task into smaller pieces and creates connection. It lets your child know that you are going to be invested and involved in what you're asking them to do. All right, how kids negotiate conflict with others and how they respond to your demands says a lot about how they feel internally and what skill set they have in their toolkit right now. So when you say, I want my kids to listen, can you flip it around and ask, how do I listen? Do you look up when they call your name, or do you stare into your computer or your phone? Do you stop what you're doing and respond to their request, or do you not look at them and ask for patience or time? Do you respond with impatience or interest? How often do you say no without learning more, or just to end the conversation? All of these communication signals, verbal and nonverbal, model for our kids how they should respond to the world and to other people. They take in these models that they're exposed to, and they try out what they see. If we want kids to listen more, take stock of how often you really listen. Bend down more. Listen without waiting for your turn to speak. Really hear and understand. Try to put yourself in your child's shoes and consider what you've heard before you make assumptions or demands for obedience. Cooperation is a child's natural state. They want to be engaged. They want to contribute. The real key to influence, which results in being listened to, is that we create an environment where our kids feel like they have a voice, and that we give them lots and lots of opportunities to feel heard and validated in their feelings, along with the connection that they need to practice their skills and move through their frustration. If you find that your kids don't listen, what is one area of change that you can make to build a more cooperative spirit in your home? Do you need to make more requests and less demands? Are you going to be more mindful in your interactions with others so that you can show a new model to your children? Or is it that you need to maybe respond with more interest and give less directions? I would love to hear what you come up with after watching this video. And what do you think your kids need to help them listen more? You never know, your ideas might just be that light bulb moment that someone else is looking for. Now, did you like this video? Because if you did, I would love it if you could share it on your favorite social media site, because when you share the love, you spread the love. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great week. Until next time, everybody, please remember, it's about consciousness, not perfection.